the prayer and the pledge. Father God, we thank you for your kindness and bringing us all together today. We may not know what this meeting holds. We know that you do. As we begin, Lord, help us to keep your word in mind. Lead us into conversations that are fruitful and enrich the lives of those who are here today. When we're undecided, please lead us in your wisdom. When our opinions may disagree, help us to remain respectful of one another. More than anything, Lord, would you help us both to seek your will and to pursue your glory through all that we say and do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll get started. Call meeting to order. Start with public comments.
Ronald Schaefer.
Yeah, I see you had this is my first
You
attendance.
can come on up to the podium if you like, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry. Ignorance is bliss. But anyway, this is my first attendance at Randolph County Commission meeting. My name's Ronald Schaefer, born and raised in Clendenin and Valley Head, up in Brady Gate. My fiance Tabitha McComas, she's from Lincoln County, West Virginia. This is her first foray into Randolph County, but we're moving. We live week on and week off. She's worked managed the same restaurant in Huntington Mall in Barbersville for 20 years. We're both looking for work up here. I go back to Clendenin every other week because I'm on chemotherapy, battling cancer. But the good Lord has shined his grace on me, and I've got a beat, and chemotherapy is just precautionary. But we're wanting to move in and be good citizens here in Randolph County and help the people in that area. Just to note, my plan is, I've never been into politics, but I'm gonna run for the state Senate seat, 11th district next year against Robert Carnes. And God willing, we'll get it. I've worked oil and gas my entire life all over the U.S. I was a construction manager of the Rover pipeline that went from Salem to Michigan. It's a $6 billion project. I worked for a firm out of Houston, Texas. Spent a lot of time in Houston. I've worked, like I said, all over the U.S., worked offshore for Stone Energy out of Morgantown. I've got good friends all over the state, and but we like the old Brady Gate Schoolhouse where we own and live, and that's where we plan to be. And I'm gonna make a foray into politics, and hopefully I don't make a fool out of myself. But I'm looking, I'm hoping, God willing, I'm a man of God, and I'm hoping that and He's leading me in that direction. And I'm hoping, I don't want to be rich or famous. I'm like King Solomon. I pray for wisdom and to help the people, and that's what our goal is. And Tab and I've discussed it. She wants to start a food pantry and maybe a clothing closet in that area and cook meals and take to folks. I've had an interview at Snowshoe, but it's hard to find somebody that'll work you every other week. I've got Jan Dills working on disability. I've worked to paid into FICA for 35 years. And now in the life or death battle, it's taken me a while, but disability is not going to be my retirement. I'm going back to work. I'm 51 years old. I went to work when I was 15. I've got 2 college degrees. I'm also working on my online law degree. Juris Doctorate, I hope, but master's nonetheless. I got a son. He's a first lieutenant in the West Virginia Guard, and he's a unit commander of a rapid deployment group, and he's a staff geologist and project manager for the Army Corps of Engineers. Tab's other son, he's a superintendent in coal mine reclamation in the southern part of the state, but we're hoping to create a legacy there in Valley Head with our camp, and hopefully buy more property and build cabins and get her family up here and just help. And one of the things I'm looking at is to try to bring some work to that area of the county. Now, I've been talking to folks, and somebody remind me when my 5 minutes is up, but doing a little campaigning. I'm working with the Hutchinsville PSD trying to get grant funding for municipal water to be extended in that area. I just had a meeting with them this morning, very productive. I had a meeting with the DEP 6 folks out of Charleston at my place Monday. They gave me some ideas just to check, 'cause a lot of people in the area are blaming the quarry there, but, my son been a geologist and, you know, in my own, background and stuff, you know, there's not enough evidence to suggest that the quarry did any damage to anybody's water wells, and I know that, but, you know, in following procedure, I needed to get an official complaint started, so, and then, you know, I'm working on grant funding, there's funding out there, working on it, working with the PSD, and hopefully get that accomplished, get those folks some water, because we pack our water, we go down to my brother's cabin and take showers, and my neighbor's got a pump he threw in the creek, so, but, and some other folks, you know, they're trying to sell some property there, and it's not selling, and I think the water's an issue. Like I said, I interviewed with, Huttonsville PSD, with Snowshoe, but finding somebody that lets you work every other week because chemo kicks my butt, so, but I'm here, and God willing, I'm gonna be a productive member of society and try to help folks. Don't know anything about politics, but when it comes to managing folks and $6 billion projects, that's something I know a little bit about, so, so that's basically it. I'll sit down and listen to everything else and hope to make it to many more meetings.
Nice meeting you. I've talked to you several times on the phone.
So you are Chrissy,
Yeah.
I didn't know it, yeah, I have talked to you, so good to meet you in person.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on that? All right. We'll go to the, minutes from last meeting.
Okay, I move that we approve the minutes I submitted for the last meeting, which was held, October 19th, 2023.
All right, motion on the floor to approve the October 19th meeting minutes as presented. All in favor? Aye. Good reports. Sheriff?
I think you're gonna start with me first. We lost a cruiser back in, first week there of the festival, or the weekend of the festival. Lost a cruiser. It looks like, from all counts, it's gonna be totaled out. And, so I've been kinda looking for vehicles. There's not much out there. By saying that, I've found that there are Dodge Durango cruisers available in Pennsylvania, and we even found some in Indiana where they upfit and do all the stuff. Waiting on an official quote from them on paper. Barber County gets theirs done that way, and they come ready pretty much to put your gear in it and go. That you send them your radios by UPS and they install everything. But downfall while I'm talking to him is, he said, when was you wanting this? And I said, well, we're down a cruiser. You know, I'm getting prices. And he said, well, you're 4 to 6 months out for the upfit. He said, we're so busy, it's 4 to 6 months at least. I was like, okay. So anyway, I wanted to bring that to your attention. I am actively looking for a vehicle. And I brought quotes to you guys for our taser and body cams for our new CSOs and our new deputy sheriffs. One will graduate December 8th from the police academy. One's supposed to go in January. So takes a while to get this stuff. So I just want to present this to you. There's a sign page on the back of each one of these that basically says you accept the quote, and they would bill us for it at that point, and then they'll add our data and all the stuff that we have. They'll add that all to our plan we have now and send one invoice for that once a year for the storage and all that.
Are both deputies going to the Fairmont Academy?
One's there now. I have intentions to send the second one there. I have to go November 16th to Charleston to the LEPS board to ask for an exception because of his eyesight. He put contacts in the day that they told him he couldn't go to the academy. His doctor gave him contacts. He's been wearing them ever since. So I'm going with him on the 16th, and we'll present his information in front of the LEPS board to get permission to allow him to go to the academy and not have to wait the 6-month waiting period, which is almost going to expire anyway, the time, but we're trying to get him in the January class. My intentions are to send him to Fairmont.
Well, what are they doing in Fairmont for the firearms trade?
They've got it all set up.
They
We
got
understand.
law enforcement coming and doing it, or?
I don't know, the guy that's there is, retired law enforcement, the guy that's in charge of the academy now, so.
Most of the instructors are prior law enforcement, and I believe there's a former special agent with the FBI that teaches too up there. But they have a facility somewhere, a range that they use where they do the qualifications.
Okay. Sorry.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Raymond? Got anybody else? Is it 911 or? Nope. All right. Correspondence, we have any correspondence? And,
Next meeting,
yeah, I'm trying to find a way to get it here, I apologize. Announcements, next meeting will be November 16th at 1:30. The audit committee will meet afterwards. And items of discussion, our first being information presentation update regarding the K-9 officer. Deputy Tyler Knotts.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you letting me come and speak to you today. I asked the sheriff if it would be okay to come and just kind of give you an update on where we're at with the K-9 program, and also let you know what we've been doing and how, and that the only reason we've achieved what we have is solely because of your guys' support, and we greatly appreciate that. We've had K-9 Twix for about a year now. In that year, we have, and I have some pamphlets that I was putting together, got tied up at the jail, wasn't able to finalize those before the meeting. I will get each of you a copy and then ask that you just give one to Commissioner Kiesling as well when he returns. But in the year that we've had Twix, we have seized over approximately 2 pounds of narcotics, methamphetamine, fentanyl. We have 2 apprehensions by K-9 for, one was a malicious assault suspect, the other was an armed or attempted murder suspect. He was just indicted in Barber County, and I believe they also indicted him on account of attempted murder where he rammed my cruiser that you all are aware of earlier in the spring. If it hadn't been for K-9 Twix, we found ourselves, in situations where the outcome would have been drastically different. The second apprehension that we had was a gentleman that was extremely high on opioid pain pills, and he had an extensive blood alcohol level. He was non-compliant, got in a pursuit, DUI, and we had to utilize the dog due to the fact that he posed an immediate threat to everybody there and the civilians that were present, and his prior criminal history, which we had gained knowledge of at the time, was that he was out on bond for felony strangulation and battery on police officers. So no police officers were injured that night, and some may say that I have a biased opinion, but my honest opinion is it is because we had Twix with us, and he's been an asset. We have over 24 apprehensions by presence, which is ultimately what we want when we use the dog. As your 2 decades in law enforcement, sir, you've seen canines work. There's people that'll fight us all day, every day. People don't want to fight the dog, especially Twix. So, it's something that has greatly benefited this community. Some people don't know, and it's not really public knowledge. A lot of people think that we're just police officers and we harass people, and we're just here to cause a disruption to them, but that's not at all the fact. I personally lost my brother December 6th, 2021 to an overdose of fentanyl. So I know what these drugs are doing to these communities. And as much as it excites me and makes me proud that we are getting these drugs, it is also extremely terrifying. The stuff that we're seeing now, people don't realize is on the streets. And it's stuff that you see on Fox News, on CNN, pure 100% pure fentanyl, coming in just plastic baggies, not in a safe container, exposing everybody to it, not just law enforcement, tow service people, first responders, EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, that all are interacting with these scenes, and it's extremely dangerous. it's nothing that I would ever imagine would be in a smaller, I mean, biggest county in the state, but population wise, you know, a place like this. So we are overwhelmed, and it's gotten to the point where I've done some research, and I, as you guys probably know, with Twix, we raised about, I believe it was $15,000. $10,000 was from the AKC Reunite grant program. It's a national grant through AKC. They do so many a year, and then in return, we just put their sticker on our cruiser and kind of represent them. And then the Mountain Region Drug and Violent Crime Task Force donated $5,000, and the rest, I believe the county, which I think we still got to pay that. So, but I have spoken to the master trainer, David Keywell, and he has been phenomenal to work with. He owns Canine. He's the master trainer at Canine Working Dogs International, and he is a grant facilitator. So recently, if you guys weren't made aware, I mean, I've been busy, we've been in and out. I completed my instructor trainer certification, so now I have a national certification to train and certify canine teams throughout the entire country. We just recently hosted a class here in Elkins. Some people from the community may have seen the cruisers from all over. We had guys from as far as Fort Belknap Indian Reservation in Montana, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kansas, all over the country. 1 week they were in Dickinson County, Virginia. It's where another one of our instructors works. And then the final week we hosted it up here. They stayed at the hotel across from the hospital. We trained at the 911 center. We trained at Homestead School, and the handlers absolutely loved it. It was surprising that they were so excited to come to Little Elkins, West Virginia to train. And I was anticipating that their hopes would be kind of squashed, but surprisingly enough, you know, they love what we have here, and the community benefited from it. You know, they bought food from the community, they got hotel rooms, and it was just a really, really great time to just, we've actually had people from the community come up and ask about the dogs, and we got to tell them, interact with the community, explain to them, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're training for, here's how we're using them. And David has been going back and forth, I've been going back and forth with him about the potential of getting a second canine for the Sheriff's Department. Recently, Elkins Police Department hired a police officer who I trained from Billington PD, and the Elkins Police Department purchased his dog and hired him. And then they just recently bought another dog that we trained and certified that was in this class, Patrolman Go. Has a new canine, I believe his name is Canine Apollo. I have spoken to David, and he has presented an exceptional opportunity for the Sheriff's Department that I'm sure you all will be supportive of due to the success that we've had with our canine program, and it's just going to continue to make it better. So he has made the proposal that he is going to allow us to essentially go ahead and obtain a second canine as soon as we would want to include it this Sunday is when the class starts. I told him, you know, hey, that's a little soon, but I'll bring it up and we'll see what we can do. But the entire cost of the canine would be through grant funding, and the only money that would be associated from the county would be the overtime, which we're compensated a half-hour a day because the canine is county property, care and upkeep, cleaning up poop, cleaning up pee, you know, dealing with them. A lot of people think that, you know, that's excessive, but I can assure you it takes more than a half-hour a day to take care of these dogs. But it is something that I'm very passionate about and I absolutely love every bit of it. My family loves Twix. He's not just a dog, not just property. You know, we've recently established a fan club that has been present at several commission meetings and advised that, you know, we do this and we do that and we don't care about the dogs, and that's extremely false. Maybe they'll get some new content for their YouTube channel from this presentation whenever they pull it off of your YouTube. So with the 2 pounds that we've seized, I believe total street value, if you break it down per gram, the price is always fluctuating. It tends to be a little bit more expensive here in Randolph County than other places, but methamphetamine is usually selling for about $100 a gram. So 2 pounds, you're looking at upwards of $100,000 in drugs just in 1 year. And that's not down to the gram numbers. That's just 2 cases specifically that we've done with the Mountain Region Drug and Violent Crime Task Force. We've seized 2 vehicles from canine sniffs that were used in the sale and distribution of narcotics. Those will be auctioned at a further date after the case is settled. I actually have a jury trial next Tuesday starting in federal court from 2 years ago with Canine Hacker, where we seized half a pound to a pound of drugs, money, and it's gonna go to a jury trial. We've had several cases go through the U.S. Attorney's Office. Most have pled. You know, the mandatory minimum sentencing guidelines in the federal system tend to scare people who like to deal with the illegal drug business. But the U.S. Attorney's Office is, from my perception, happy with what we're doing. We've actually created an interdiction team. I know the state police has an interdiction team. We don't really have anything in this area. So between Randolph County, Pocahontas County, Sheriff's Departments, Elkins Police Department, Philby Police Department, and I believe Grafton PD, when we've got a couple more agencies, we have 8 to 9 dogs in our region, with this continuing to grow. And we all do mutual aid stuff. They come over here upon our request so we can do dog sniffs at the school. They request us, we go over there. It's a great thing. They're in the same district, so they're getting big drug seizures in their respected areas and taking those to federal court as well. And when the assistant U.S. attorney sees that their certifications are from the same company that we get our dogs from and that we train our dogs, they absolutely love it. And I think it's awesome. So we're calling ourselves the Northern Appalachian Canine Interdiction Team. Originally it was the Appalachian Canine Interdiction Team, but we have grown to more than just our area, and we have guys in Virginia and Kentucky that were kind of butthurt that we stole the Appalachian. They think that they deserve it. I disagreed, so we said, hey, we'll be Northern, you be Southern. How about that? But even in their federal court systems down there, I mean, the U.S. attorneys communicate with each other. You know, the word is spreading just beyond Elkins, Randolph County, West Virginia, Northern Court District of the United States and West Virginia, but as well as down there. And I think that's just a phenomenal thing. Ultimately, this is what we want to do. We want to help impact the communities and get drugs off the streets and just make the places that we live in safer. I live in this county. I tell people all the time that I deal with, you know, I'm your neighbor. I'm going to treat you with professionalism and courtesy, but I just ask that you give me that in return. And an overwhelming majority of the citizens in this county are very supportive of law enforcement. We're very lucky for that, considering what's going on throughout the country right now. But I asked the sheriff that I was able to present this to you all today in hopes that in the future, whether it be next week or next year, we could get a second canine through grant money. I can get a quote on request from David Kewell that pretty much states the understanding is that it's on grant money. We have 2 years to pay the bill. You know, he doesn't want it up front. It's something that he sees as a gain. He's also lost family members to drugs, alcohol, and violence. So he's a smaller canine vendor, as the other ones. Shallow Creek, I believe, is where the state police get their dogs. But he's got something really special going on because he personally is invested in it. And also, we not just do our initial training and then they get cut loose and the guys are like, hey, good luck, you have your dogs, go out and make a positive impact. We train every other week for 6 hours. We maintain a standard of at least 18 hours a month, which is the minimum standard. We try to do more than that. But it's a continual thing that we do. My phone has been ringing off the hook just since the last class that we instructed. I teach the patrol stuff, patrol classes. We stay up to date with relevant case law, what is going on in different circuit courts throughout the entire country. Some stuff that's in the 4 circuits different than it's going in California and vice versa. So the handlers are keeping up to date with what they can and can't do, what is the best utilization of the dog, what's legal, what's illegal. And I give my personal number to all the new handlers. I had guys from Arkansas, Louisiana, and actually the sheriff of Owsley County, Kentucky. She was up here. She has 2 deputies, and she put a new deputy through a class earlier this year. That deputy went elsewhere, so she came back herself to certify with the dog, and she is on an on-call basis 24/7. There's 4 law enforcement officers in her county. She reached out to our group chat that we have and let us know about a drug seizure they had last week, and just great stuff that we've got going on. So I told the sheriff that I was confident that if we brought this to everybody's attention, and thank you guys, because ultimately none of this would be possible without the support of the commission, and that's just a fact. I'm not here to try to make anybody feel any better about anything, but without the funding assistance, we wouldn't be able to make any of this possible. And I told the sheriff I was confident that if we brought this to your attention, that we would have the support to in the future get a second dog for our opposite rotation. That way we have 1 canine on each rotation. The sheriff and the chief deputy have been in communication with each other about opening up the position for our department. The qualified people who were interested put in an interest, and we're on the process of moving forward from there. But we wanted to go ahead and bring this to your guys' attention and just let you know where we were at, and thank you for your support.
You don't have anybody chosen yet that's wanting to do it, or?
Well, we had 4 people show interest. I believe of some of those who showed interest had some things come up throughout the remainder of the discussion where they didn't prefer a shift, or so I think that they've got it narrowed down to 2 or 3 that are interested. And I spoke with Chief Deputy Sharp and Sheriff Elbin. They're still communicating with each other about how they want to go about the process, whether we do a board with myself and the administration to go over some canine related stuff, and then talk to each candidate and go from there. But this is still in the works, so I think the 31st was the deadline for interest. So we have all the names in the hat now. It's just pretty much getting the authorization of support from you all before we go any further with it, just so we're sure on where everybody stands. But with the dog, the training, all of the equipment, at the end of it, you're talking upwards of $20,000, and people hear that and they're like, "Oh my gosh, $20,000 for a dog." But then what they don't understand is on the flip side, that $20,000 that's invested from county funding, or not in this case with Twix grants that we raised, and with the future dog also grant money, still comes from taxpayers, and it's still American money, but it pays for itself in no time. I mean, we're talking within 1 month, we had either seized $20,000 worth of narcotics, or saved the lives of a police officer potentially, or citizens in the community by, literally the Barber County situation. They weren't able to have a dog out that evening. We got activated with the Mountain Region Special Response Team, and we got in a pursuit with this guy for 45 minutes, upwards of 100 mile an hour, and he had Randolph County on him the entire way through Upshur and Barber. We didn't know where we were, but we were on him. So, had we not had the canine, he had firearms on him, he had drugs, he had just unloaded a revolver into a vehicle and struck his ex-girlfriend with it. He had nothing to lose. So in those kind of situations, having and I say tool, but that's ultimately, canines are a tool that we utilize as law enforcement to help us do our job. But we obviously think of them more than just a tool. I spend more time with Twix than I do my wife, my kids, literally anybody on the face of this planet. He works with me, he's home with me. Every single aspect of my life revolves around that dog, whether I go on vacation, who's watching him. He's a little high strung, so not a whole lot of people want to watch him. Some places don't accept him to come in and do boarding for them, which is understandable, and we make do. But it's just a really great thing that we're doing. And David also is a vendor for cruiser upfitting as far as canine inserts, so that cost will also include the cost to upfit the vehicle with the same items that I have in mind with the canine insert, the hot and pop system that will record the temperature, notify the officer if it gets too hot. It'll roll the windows down, turn the lights and siren on, and ultimately you can set it up to where if it becomes extremely dangerous temperature-wise for the dog and it doesn't lower, it'll pop the door open in the event that the dog is close to being in danger. We had a dog this just passed class who was in the early stages of heat exhaustion. One of the handlers didn't have the system that we have, and he did everything that he could, everything he was supposed to, had his dog in his car, air conditioner on, windows down, ventilation. Ultimately, it just got too hot in the back where he was, so he didn't have proper ventilation. Fortunately, the handler got to him to take him out and let him pee and poop, and recognized that he was in heat distress. So we did what we needed to do to bring his temperature slowly down. We can't, if you're ever in heat exhaustion, it can't be a fast thing, it'll shock their system. So we took him to the shade, covered him in room temperature water, blankets, and slowly brought his temperature back down. And also, taught the guys that you don't take a temperature under the gums whenever it comes to that situation. He thought I was teasing him, but I had to explain to him that it was the other way.
The only extra cost
He
really,
has another portal for that.
that's Rob's job there. The only cost you have after the initial cost is basically the food maintenance and bedding.
Yep, so the only cost that would be associated from the county would be the care and upkeep, which would be the handlers overtime, half hour a day. But with that being said, we've been working very closely with the Mountain Region Drug and Violent Crime Task Force. I'm essentially trying everything that I can do, even to be on an on-call 24-hour basis with them, and they call me, and when they call me, I go. And because of Twix, they've had several successful cases go through the federal court system and put some bad dudes away for a long time. And
Yeah, I did SRT for 11 years. You're gonna call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you're on vacation or not. And that's a lot for one person to deal with.
absolutely,
2 K9s would be, I know it'd be an asset. It's just a matter of doing the money and seeing if we have that to
Absolutely.
roll through with. So my suggestion would be to figure out what you think the annual cost is gonna be and try to figure out in your budget for next year. And before next year though, but let us know what it's gonna be and then we can talk it over and go from there.
but another possibility too, just so the commission is aware, the Mountain Region Drug and Violent Crime Task Force has recently obtained the HIDA status from the federal government, which brought additional funding and resources in for the officers that are over there. So I've been working with the task force commander to try to secure funding for a K9 specifically, that would still be under the sheriff's department and still work for the sheriff's department, still take calls, do everything, but then have that line item of funding from the government, not the county, not local funding.
Yeah.
So for future stuff, we'll put all that together and we would, bring it to your guys' attention, but we appreciate your support and we look forward to doing some more good work.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is consider approval of funding request from Randolph County EMS. Had anybody here from that fire EMS? No. We got a letter from Randolph. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We got a letter from Kurt Gaynor, Director of Randolph County EMS, says this request is for disbursement of $14,900 of special needs projects for the Randolph County EMS. These special ventures are upgrading our advanced airway mobile systems, which include new large-scope equipment used in incubations of, he uses too many words for me. He also, with these funds, 2 mobile siren radios will be purchases for his Harmony EMS station to improve communications for the Randolph County 911 Center. And so he's requesting the same funding that we've given to the fire departments throughout the county to help with their air pack system replacement. Some of the departments such as Beverly and Elkins had already started upgrading their air packs long before this year, so they didn't need the money for that, but wanted the money for other things, and that we've agreed to give them money, the same amount for that. So, if you'd like to make a motion on that, Chris?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the fund request from Randolph County EMS in the amount of $14,900 to be taken from courthouse contractual.
Like a motion on the floor is to approve the funding request from Randolph County EMS in the amount of $14,900 to be taken from courthouse contractual. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Next thing on the agenda, be consider approval funding request from Fraternal Order of Police, Seneca Trail Lodge 104 for annual Christmas party. How are you, sir?
All right, how are you doing?
Good.
All right, gentlemen, my name's Brian Kilgore. I'm here on behalf of the FOP. We're having our annual Christmas party. As you all may or may not know, it's been several years, 20 plus years that we've had a Christmas party. Last year we really upgraded or, made the party a lot larger. We were able to secure the Phil Gaynor Community Center. We had roughly 150 children with their parents that came and attended. All gifts, each child received a gift that was somewhere between $80 and $100 a child. We contacted each family. Go back on that, when we get these, we get our children through contacting school counselors to find out what children throughout the community really need our assistance. With that, we contacted each one of those families individually, said, what would your child like? And we tried to match that gift to the best of our ability. They come to the Phil Gaynor Center. We had bounce houses. We had Santa Claus, the Grinch. It was a good time. The community was, very supportive last year. We're hoping to be able to have about 200 children, so about 50 more children. So right now, we have received a few more donations. We're about $13,775 with what donations I have on hand right now. So we would like to be at about 22,000. I'm hoping 23,000. So we're presenting this in the hopes that the commission would agree to assist us in this program and sponsor some children. You can pretty much gauge, we've already covered the cost of the Phil Gaynor, so anything that you give us, that's about $100 per child. That's what you will, that's how many children you'll support throughout our community. Now with my letter that I submitted, we have, I think there's 6 photographs, just rough photographs, of what we had, what we're doing. It's a good time. I would encourage you as the commissioners to come to this year's party to see how the money's being spent. We're an open book. The Christmas party donations that we receive go into a separate account. So it's an account strictly for the Christmas party. Last year, we spent everything but $84.99. That's what remained in the account out of a little, it was a little over 19,000 that we got last year. Over 18,000 actually went to gifts and things like that. Of course, we had to secure the lodging and stuff, so that's not included in my letter as, or not the lodging, but the facility, food, things of that nature. I didn't want to include that in as the children's gifts. So, we spend all the money back in Randolph County. Primarily all of our shopping transpires at either the local stores. Walmart is a huge one. The regional manager or the store manager there has been phenomenal with us. So while this money, we service multiple counties, most of this money is returned right back into Randolph County on a tax basis purpose. So we would ask and that you all consider a donation. It's money well spent. I think if you came one time and seen what's going on now, it's kind of infectious. It was a good time last year. There were a lot of kids that had, a great Christmas, and it's because of this community and the donations that we receive. We're just the mouthpiece, so to speak. It's kind of I'm not from here. I've been here about 15 years working. It's a very supportive and giving community. And when you come to that and you see it and what gives back, these are kids that may not have gotten anything, and then they have a good day. So once again, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. We just ask for your support again. The commission's been wonderful to us in past years. So we would ask anything that you could give us, we would appreciate it. And the children will, and I encourage you to come. The date and everything that is in your letter. So come down and check it out. And this is something that, you know, we as an organization and me as a person are very passionate. So thank you for your consideration. And do you have any questions for me?
You and I talked a lot about this last year when you was wanting to do this and come to us, and we talked afterwards too.
Yes.
You guys gave a lot of bicycles away too.
We did.
A lot of good gifts. I mean, not cheap
No.
stuff from a 5 and dime store. You got a lot of nice things. These kids really, you guys done a great job. You really have. I'm proud to be associated with you guys and the job y'all done on that. So I do thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You probably couldn't have it during COVID though, I'm sure, so.
No.
You missed a few years there.
Yeah. There were gifts that were given out from the lodge. They would drive through. It's kind of, not to minimize, you know, we've been doing a Christmas party. It's been great for many, many years. It's kind of just escalated to a good place that we're going to continue. The sheriff would attest. He was there, participated. It's just a good thing, you know. You see a lot of children who truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
He said it's infectious. It is, cause my wife got the bug. She's already started on it, so, and she's trying to jump on with these guys, so, our business is gonna donate, to the kids, and, we think it's a great thing. She's already wanting to go wrap presents, but we haven't bought them yet, so.
There, you can hire her. She can come in.
There you go.
It's all volunteer.
It's a process.
Everything's volunteer over there. That's, it's just people out of the goodness of their hearts. So it's cool to watch those kids.
Yeah, it sounds like it's for a good cause, to help the children.
You gotta do, like I said, you gotta do a great job.
Thank you.
And even though you're not from here, we have found it.
Yeah, my wife is.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the funding request from the Fraternal Order of Police in the amount of $2,500, which will be taken from courthouse contraction.
Alright, motion on the floor is to approve the funding request from the Fraternal Order of Police in the amount of $2,500 taken from courthouse contractual. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. And thank you, Brian,
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Jim.
Thank you, guys. Next thing on the agenda, consider approval of funding request from Elk Lodge. Do we have anybody here from the Elks? No, okay. It's for reimbursement for pool chemicals and utilities for, winterization.
They give us a quote on it, or?
Yes, that letter there. Letter is addressed to Commissioner Kiesling, C. and Siler. On behalf of the Randolph County Community Pool and Splash Pad, the trustees of Elks 1135 would like to request funding in the amount of $10,000. The money will be used to replace the working capital borrowed off the Elks Lodge 1135 for the maintenance, utilities, chemicals, and winterization of the pool since its closure on September 4th, 2023. This funding will also allow the Elks to keep all utilities current at the pool through the winter months. Respectfully submitted to Jeffrey D. Pritt, trustee. The pool is the county, it's owned by the county. We are lucky enough to have the Elks be able to run this for us and take care of things and keep things up. So this is really our responsibility in a sense to make sure that these things are maintained and taken care of. So if I get a motion?
Well, we can take this out of hotel motel tax, can't we?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Due to we had multiple people from multiple counties come to the pool this past year.
And it's for recreation.
Yeah.
Recreation.
Dave, you remember how many counties we serviced last year? Just this first year? Yeah,
I think it was 6 or 7, wasn't it?
6 or 7. We had them come, I mean, several counties over as well too, didn't we?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was good well, so.
Okay.
You'd like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the fund request from the Elks Lodge in the amount of $10,000, which will be taken from hotel motel tax.
Alright, the motion on the floor is to approve the funding request from the Oaks Lodge in the amount of $10,000 to be taken from hotel motel. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. The next thing on the agenda will be consideration approval of new hire in circuit clerk's office. Still here?
Nobody here from the circuit clerk?
A letter from Phil requesting Serena Wiseman as the individual that he would like to employ to replace a deputy who recently terminated her employment. Her tentative starting date will be November 20th of 2023, and he appreciates consideration approval today of the employment of Serena Wiseman.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the hire of Serena Wiseman to a full-time position in the circuit clerk's office. This is a benefited position with a starting pay of $15.38 per hour, beginning November 20th, 2023, and comes with a standard 90-day probationary period.
Alright, the motion on the floor is to hire Serena Wiseman as the deputy for the circuit clerk's office. This is a benefited position with a starting pay of $15.38 per hour beginning November 20th, 2023, with a standard 90-day probationary period. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Need to consider approval of reappointments to the Pioneer Memorial Public Library. And the library in Harmon.
And then we have just one term up.
Yeah. It's, Geneva Broski's term as board member for the Pioneer Memorial Public Library expires the end of June 2023, and she would like to continue for another 5-year term starting July 1 of 2023. She has been a great asset to our library board and would like to see her reappointed. Since I did not get this notification sent off in a timely manner, she has continued in her role as a board member as West Virginia Library Commission rules stipulate that a board member continues in their role until they resign or reappointment or replaced.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the reappointment of Geneva Barsky to the Pioneer Memorial Library Board. Her appointment will begin immediately and end June 30th, 2028.
All right, motion on the floor is to reappoint Geneva Broski to the Pioneer Memorial Public Library Board in Harmon. Her appointment will begin immediately and end June 30th of 2023. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Clicking, next on the agenda, be consider creation of Fund 40. This is for opioid settlement money. This be a separate account to keep track of them funds.
Is that something that the auditor suggested, I would guess?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Make a motion to approve the creation of fund number 40.
All right, the motion on the floor is to approve the creation of Fund number 40 for opioid settlement money. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Next one would be consider creation of Fund number 41. This is for County Fire Protection Fund. This is a separate box to be able to
Is this
keep
fire
control.
fee?
Yes.
Fire fee, okay. I'm sure I come from the auditor too.
This is in accordance with passage number SB 1021.
Okay. We gotta do it. I'll make a motion to approve the creation of Fund 41.
All right, motion on the floor is to consider, the creation of Fund 41 for Fire Fee Protection Fund. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. All right, last thing we have on the agenda here, or I'm sorry, not the last, yes it is.
Yeah, it is.
Will be clarification of misrepresentation of funding request from Whitmer Water Association. To clarify this, a little bit of back and forth. The original request was brought in by the mayor down here, was broke down in several different things, but would come down to a grand total of $321,523.25. The request was for that amount, not the $24,140 that was printed in the paper. The problem is the portion of the request that totaled $24,140.09 was supposed to be for Whitmer Fire Department, and even that was not true. The letter that we received from West Lambert, well, we didn't receive, we got a copy of this letter. It was from West Lambert to to Sammy Roy, which is the Whitmer Volunteer Fire Department. In Mr. Lambert's letter to Mr. Roy, he clearly stated that to install the line that they had requested for their the new fire department would only cost $4,000, not $24,000. There's several other things that they put in with that request, which services something other than the fire department. It doesn't clearly state what it does. Some taps and some underboards under the road and what have you. But I'm not sure where them others go to or what they're for, but only 4,000 of it is supposed to be for the cost for the fire department. Had that been what they came here and requested, that wouldn't have been a problem. But when you come here and ask for $321,000 and think that we're gonna be able to drop and figure out where we're gonna get that by the end of a meeting, it's not gonna happen. And that's what the letter from President Kiesling to the mayor was about, was to explain that we couldn't just come up with $321,000 at the drop of a hat. We had to figure out where that money is. And this is not the first time that the mayor's misrepresented a lot of things that his requests are. The TIF was misrepresented to us, and this TIF is a lot of the problems that we have right now with trying to figure out where we're gonna come up with $321,000. We're gonna be paying bonds back for the city for the next 30 years, about $25 million. So we need to figure out where we're gonna be able to bring up this funding to help with $321,000. If we so do that, for letter of fire department approach pay, apologize, I kinda got off there a little bit. The commission has no point refusing help on this project with the fire department. Again, we've given a lot of money out to the fire departments over the last 2 years since I've been on the commission, and we will continue to be supporters of our first responders, whether they be with the EMS or the fire department, sheriff's department, state police, or city police. I mean, with the $14,900 that we've given out to fire departments, one of them fire departments is the Elkin City Fire Department, which is not ours to actually be responsible for funding, but they do assist outside the county, or outside the city. They do have first response to a lot of areas outside the city, and we feel responsible to help them, for the fact that they do help our county residents that are not part of the city.
That's the Elkins Volunteer Fire Department.
Correct.
There's 2 fire departments in Elkins.
Yes, that's correct.
So the one we give to is the Elkins Volunteer Fire Departments. 14,900.
And as far as the response letter that was stated in the paper, we never received that until after the response letter. The commission only received the alleged response letter dated October 27th from Mayor Marco after Commissioner Kiesling emailed him and CC'd the editor of the newspaper. And then that letter was hand delivered to us on November the 1st, about 20 minutes after that email got sent. So the letter that was supposedly dated the 27th, that was in the paper stating we got, was never received until the 1st of November, after they'd already printed in the paper. We knew nothing of it. So there's a lot of misrepresentation on that back and forth, and it needs to stop. We can't have a good relationship working together if we continue to try to make each other look bad in the paper or in the press or anywhere else. We have to have clear talks and be able to sit down and communicate clearly without holding anything back. If there's an issue, we need to get that out. And I appreciate it if we could all get to that point and do that. That said, I guess we'll move on to final settlements and annual accounts.
We have 4 today.
I'm sorry, thank you. I want to try to,
What are they, Brendan?
Final
Okay.
yeah, we got 4 final settlements.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the 4 final settlements as submitted.
Alright, motion on the floor is to approve the 4 final settlements as presented. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we'll go to budget revisions.
I think they're inside your folder.
We gotta move forward. The first budget revision we have here is for the sheriff.
Second.
He's wanting to, increase the jailer uniforms by $260.72 and, decrease the jail supplies by $260.72. It's an in-house budget revision.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the in-house budget revision for the sheriff's department in the amount of $260.72.
Motion on the floor is to approve the in-house budget revision for the sheriff in the amount of $260.72. All in favor? Aye. Second budget revision we have here is gonna be for the sheriff.
No.
Sheriff is wanting to increase the funding of training by $267.28 and decrease the supplies by $267.28.
I'll make the motion to approve the in-house budget revision in the sheriff's office in the amount of $267.28.
Sorry, motion on the floor is to approve the in-house budget revision for the sheriff in the amount of $267.28. All in favor? Aye. Alright, final one.
Okay, what's it for?
In-house budget revision, Huttonsville cleanup approved. Previous financial year. We're gonna be moving $10,000 from the courthouse contractual and increasing the property enforcement by $10,000. I believe that's our,
That is ours. That's from where the Huttonsville cleanup had been approved in the previous fiscal
Okay.
year. So
That's
it's
what I
just,
thought.
yeah.
Okay.
That's ours.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the in-house budget revision in the amount of $10,000. Let's take it from courthouse contractual and move it to property enforcement.
A motion on the floor is to in-house budget revision to decrease courthouse contractual by $10,000 and increase property enforcement by $10,000. All in favor? Aye. Division property and erroneous assessments.
5 erroneous assessments.
We have 5 erroneous assessments. Alright, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the 5 erroneous assessments as submitted.
Motion on the floor is to approve the 5 erroneous assessments as submitted. All in favor? Aye. Distressed properties, we have any? None? Fire fee adjustments, we have just the one. Is that it?
I'll move that we approve the fire fee adjustment as submitted.
Motion on the floor is to approve the fire fee adjustment as submitted. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Payment of the bills.